Today on Handy Jeff, we are taking this old faucet that leaks like a sieve and going to be turning it into this sleek, modern kitchen sink faucet. Comes out, even has a hose, has spray function, much better. And most importantly, it doesn't leak. That is huge. So let's get to it. Okay guys, so in case you can't tell, this thing, it's super old. I mean, it's not modern looking at all. You turn it on and it leaks right out of the bottom there. We can't be having that in this house because we're remodeling this whole thing. So let's replace this faucet. It's super simple. And if you follow along step by step, I know you can do it too. So let's get to it. First things first, let's shut the water off. Wow, when you come down here, you can definitely tell that the dripping from the faucet is ruining this cabinet. So we're gonna end up having to replace this wood, but that's no big deal. What we are going to do now though, is we are going to dry this and shut the water off. You probably have stops like this underneath your kitchen sink. If not, the other option that you could have is one of these nice quarter turn valves, which is what we will be eventually putting on, but not in this video. So because these valves are older than I am, I'm gonna run downstairs and turn the main water off to the entire house. All right, so we are in the basement and we're just gonna go ahead and shut our water off. If your stops don't work, you can always shut your water main off. Generally, if you don't know what that is, it looks like a pipe coming in out of the wall if you're in a basement. And I hate that I have to say that, but a lot of homeowners don't know where their water shut off is. Just speaking from experience of being a plumber. The next step is to drain some water down. So I'm just gonna go ahead and crank the shower on, let it drain down, and then come out here because I don't want more to drip out. Go ahead and open up both sides of this faucet. Let it all go ahead and drain out. Okay, so we've got the water drained out. Let's talk about the tools you're gonna need. If you don't have these, I will leave a link for them in the description from Amazon. That gives us a little cut and doesn't cost anything to you. So it's a fairly simple process installing a kitchen sink faucet. We just need a screwdriver. This is a 13-in-1. Then I've got a couple different sets of pliers here. You really only need one. So pick your poison on that. And this little guy saves lives. It is the RIDGID Sink tool. And I will leave a link for this in the description because chances are you won't have this and you'll have to order it. You can get up there and unscrew things using, you know, a pair of pliers, or if you're really lucky, your hands. But if you want a tool that will pay for itself time and time again and you can change out as many sink faucets as you want, this little guy will save your life. Okay guys, if you haven't already, make sure we clear out all the space underneath your kitchen sink. You're going to need to be able to move around in here, okay? This is relatively simple. It's a good thing we're changing this bad boy. Check out this puddle. Stuff from it dripping. Just from turning it on to release the water. You'll love it here. So the first step, we got a flashlight set up. I'm gonna get you down in here where you can get a great view at what I'm doing. We're gonna take our pliers, and we're just gonna come right in here and undo the supply line. Make sure that you're holding this, because this is gonna wanna twist the entire thing. Oh, there we go. And, whoop, I'm sorry I knocked you there. But once you got it loose, you can go ahead and unscrew it. If I was worried about saving this kitchen cabinet below, I would definitely catch this water with, you know, a pan or something, but this thing's pretty much already gone, and we're gonna be replacing the wood anyway. Holy cow, they made this much more difficult than it needed to be. There, got it out. There's a little bit of water in there, not a big deal. Now we're on to the other side. Once again, the exact same premise. Hold on to your valve so that it doesn't break your copper pipe, because you can't let it spin. Use your pliers to unscrew the supply line, take the nut all the way off, and then pull the supply line out. And now both supply lines are disconnected. Since this is a future rental, I don't have a bunch of rags or towels here. But if you didn't clean it up, make sure you clean up this water, because you're gonna be laying on this with your back, and you don't want to get a soaked back. Now that we've got everything cleaned up, I'm gonna go ahead and set you guys down and move you up so that you can see what's going on, and roll this flashlight up. As you can see, the things that hold, wow, there's spider webs down here. As you can see, the things that hold the kitchen sink faucet up, you got to take these supply lines off, which both of these are too tight for me to move with just my hands. That's where our handy dandy sink tool comes in. If we remove this end here, you're looking at now something that can come in here, actually grab these nuts and just spin it off. Just like that. And then all you got to do is loosen them up. Once they're loosened up, you can generally get them with your hands. That removes the supply line. Now we just got to do it to the other side. That supply line's off. As you can see, these nuts are almost the exact same thing. We're going to use the exact same side of the sink tool, just the side that has the little different slots cut out for it. And what we're going to do is come up until it catches, find a spot, there you go, that's caught right there really well, and then we just twist. And then it's a long time coming. If you're not wearing safety glasses right here, you may want to go grab some, because there's nothing worse than getting dust that's been underneath of a sink for God knows how long in your eyes. It's the worst thing about changing kitchen sink faucets. We're going to go ahead and just keep unscrewing this. All right, and now we've got the one nut off. We're going to go on the second nut. Probably have to use two hands to get it started. There we go. Now we'll just go ahead and unscrew this bad boy too. All right, that's off. All right, so you can see this particular model doesn't have a hose. Sometimes there's a hose that'll come out of here and fits in over here someplace. You just need to disconnect that. Or heck, if you're just changing the faucet out, go ahead and cut it somehow. But this is now loose. So let's go pull the old faucet out. Ready for one of the most satisfying things? Go ahead and take this bad boy out and throw it into your scrap pile. There's a shower faucet from a past video. And now, as you can see, this needs work. So let's go ahead and clean it. All right, we've got a few different cleaning mechanisms here. I've got an old putty knife that I use to do pretty much everything from cleaning the wax ring on toilets to fiberglass work. I've got a sponge that's wet and a stiff bristle brush. So let's go ahead and clean this bad boy up. Get all these nasties out of there, because it's been 30 years probably since this faucet's been changed. All right, so it's fairly clean. It's cleaner than it was. I would work and use some chemical if this sink was going to stay in, but I'm replacing this whole countertop. I'm doing this video just so you guys can see how to change a kitchen sink faucet. But let's go ahead and get our other kitchen sink faucet that we just got out of the box. This kitchen sink faucet is an Amazon special. Why? Because it's been stepping up its game. I have this particular faucet in my house at home. So I just wanted to mention that if you want this particular sink faucet, because it's going to be awesome when it's finished, it's going to have a link for it down below in the description. And like I said before, I do get a little bit of a cut off that, but it costs you additionally nothing. And if you order from there, I appreciate you so much. That would be amazing. All right, as you can see, this has 3 holes. This faucet only has 1 hole. So it has an included cover plate that we will be using, set just like that. But first step is to take all of our hoses and put it down through the center of this. That includes this double hose, which is connected to the actual sprayer itself. Just go ahead, follow it all the way up there. Perfect, just like that. Now we're gonna feed our hoses down through the center hole on the actual sink. And this is where having two people comes in pretty handy, because you're gonna need to be able to hold this in position while we tighten the nut that comes with the faucet on the bottom there. This includes the nut, and this makes it super easy. So let's just go down there and tighten this bad boy up. We've got our faucet sticking down through here, and we've got our nut. Like I said, this just has the threads on it, and all you gotta do is tighten it up just like that using your hands. But we're gonna go ahead and take our hoses, shove our hoses through the hole, because they need to be. So both the hot and the cold, as well as this double hose. And you kind of got to work it in there. Once it gets to the bottom, go ahead and thread it through. All right, now this is where you would have the extra person hold everything in line with where you want it. We are just going to tighten this lightly and then adjust it up above the sink and come back down. So we just got to get our thread started here. Make sure it's started straight. That's the difficult part. I may have to readjust so that I can use two hands here. Guys, if you appreciate me trying to get you the best shots possible for this, then go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe, so that this can get pushed to more people, and I would be forever grateful. Now, this is going to take forever because it's got a super long threaded area. All right, so we're starting to get tight here. So we're going to go up above and adjust it so that it is in the place that we want it to be at. Well, what do I mean by adjusting it? So I want to set my faceplate to where I'm happy with it, and the faucet body itself, because once this is tight, this won't wiggle around. I like this. I'm checking the counter to make sure that it's not going to hit the backsplash when it's turned all the way on, which it's not. That is the position I want it to be in. So I am going to actually reach back in and tighten this up while I hold this. All right, now how might I do this? Well, I'm going to try to not give you the stereotypical plumber's crack. I'm going to hold here and reach back up in there and go ahead and tighten that down. Okay guys, you can see this is pretty tight, which is exactly what we're going for. Now we've got to go ahead and put the weight on, and we've got to hook it up down below. This particular faucet comes with a weight that just has a couple screws on it, and that's how you're going to be able to hold the hose into the holder. All right, welcome to Handy Jeff telling ghost stories. Just kidding. I'm going to go ahead and find my tiny Phillips, which is the screw that you need to unscrew this, and go ahead, unscrew the weight. There are two screws. Okay, so we've got our two screws that are taken out, and we've got our weight, which separates just like this. So what we're going to do now is pull our hose down. Let me give you a better look here. This side is the hose that is controlled by the faucet. So we're going to go ahead and just clamp this hose where it's going to be vertical, because we want the actual weight to hold down on the faucet head. I'm going to go ahead here and get both screws started. These can be a little tricky, but if you work at it, you'll get it. So we're going to get both screws started and go ahead and tighten the second side all the way up. Go ahead and tighten the first side all the way up. All right, let's run back up and check and make sure that our weight is going to be effective. All right, taking a look. It will return automatically to our holder. We've got distance to come down, spray both sides of the sink, or we can twist this bad boy back and forth. Perfect. I'd say the weight is in a perfect location. Let's hook the supply lines up. Okay, so whoever plumbed this, interestingly enough, it's time for some plumbing knowledge. So the right is normally your cold or blue, and they used a blue hose bib for the shutoff valve. Then the left is normally the hot, if everything is plumbed correctly, and they even used a red shutoff valve. But all of this is going to end up getting replaced eventually. So we're going to go ahead and just start both of these hoses on by hand. Make sure that our hose is not in the way of where the weight is going to be so that it doesn't cause any interference. Once you've got both hoses started by hand, we're going to take our handy dandy channel locks and just tighten her up. And do it on the left or the hot side as well. Perfect. Now it's time for the moment of truth. Let's go turn the water back on. All right, when you turn your water back on, don't water hammer it. Just open it slowly. And you can hear it quit running, so that means we're good and not spraying water everywhere. All right, guys, moment of truth. I'm gonna let all the air get out of the lines. We can go ahead, clean up our sink. Gonna let it keep running. We're gonna go down here and we're gonna check for leaks. We don't have any drips. Looks like both sides don't have any water leaking out. Look at that. That's perfect. And that is what I would call a very successful kitchen sink faucet install. Guys, this has been a great success. Check this bad boy out. This will serve the people who live in this house much better than that old faucet that would drip down below. And you know what? I appreciate you guys for being in on the journey with me. This has been Handy Jeff with a kitchen sink faucet replacement, and we'll see you in another video. Thank you so much for watching. Handy Jeff out.